The shotgun blast echoed through the cornfields like God's own thunder, splintering the old oak door inches from Jonathan's face as he stumbled backward into the mud. "You're dead to us. Boy, get the hell off this land before I make it true," his father's voice roared, raw with a hatred that had simmered for years, now boiling over in the humid Alabama night. Jonathan's heart hammered not from fear, but from the shattering realization that the man who'd taught him to bait a hook and mend a fence had just fired on his own son for loving another man. He ran without looking back, the gravel road biting into his bare feet, the summer rain starting to fall in fat, stinging drops that mixed with the hot tears streaming down his cheeks. At 22, Jonathan Hale had always known his small-town life was a fragile illusion, built on Bible verses and backyard barbecues where whispers about that queer kid floated like smoke from the grill. But tonight, it all crumbled. The secret kisses with Tommy behind the grain silo, the furtive notes passed in the high school parking lot, exposed by a nosy neighbor's glare and a father's unyielding rage. By dawn, he was on a Greyhound bus bound north, clutching a duffel bag with nothing but faded jeans, a dog-eared copy of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, and a resolve as brittle as his broken ribs. New York City swallowed him whole that first week, his concrete canyons a far cry from the lazy drawl of Mobile. He crashed on a stranger's couch in Brooklyn, a wiry artist named Rico who eyed him with pity and poured him cheap whiskey until the pain dulled to a hum. Days blurred into hustling odd jobs, washing dishes in a Hell's Kitchen diner, unloading crates at the docks, while nights were spent in dimly lit bars on Christopher Street, where men like him laughed too loud and danced too close, chasing shadows of acceptance. But the ghosts followed. Letters from home returned unopened, his mother's silence louder than any scream, his name scrubbed from the family Bible like a sin erased with whiteout. It was in one of those bars, the Stonewall in Reborn in Neon and Nostalgia, that he met Adam. The place was packed that Friday, June Pride Month spilling into July with rainbow flags whipping in the breeze outside. Jonathan nursed a Budweiser at the Scarred Oak Bar, his flannel shirt unbuttoned just enough to reveal the fresh tattoo on his collarbone, a simple compass rose, inked in a fleeting moment of rebellion. Adam slid onto the stool beside him, all sharp angles and easy confidence. 24, with tousled blonde hair that caught the light like wheat fields at sunset, and green eyes that held the mischief of someone who dodged a few bullets himself. "You look like you just crawled out of a Hemingway novel," Adam said, his voice a warm drawl laced with Midwestern vowels. "Ohio," Jonathan guessed. He flagged the bartender with a lazy wave. 2 shots of Jameson. "On me." Jonathan eyed him warily, the old defenses kicking in. "What's your angle?" "No angle. Just a face that says, 'Rescue me,' from across the room." Adam's grin was disarming, the kind that promised stories over sunrise coffee. They talked until last call. Adam, a theater kid turned barista, chasing bit parts in off-Broadway plays while dreaming of Hollywood lights. Jonathan spilling fragments of his shattered South, the words tumbling out like he'd been holding his breath for months. By morning, they were tangled in Adam's tiny walk-up in the East Village, sheets twisted around legs that fit like puzzle pieces. It wasn't love at first sight, not the fairy tale kind peddled in rom-coms, but something rawer, a recognition of shared fractures. Adam traced the bruises on Jonathan's ribs with gentle fingers, murmuring, "Whoever did this doesn't get to define you." And for the first time since the shotgun's roar, Jonathan believed it. Their romance unfolded like a jazz riff in the city's underbelly. Stolen afternoons in Washington Square Park, feeding pigeons and reading poetry aloud. Late-night walks across the Brooklyn Bridge, where the Manhattan skyline glittered like a promise. Adam pulled Jonathan into his world. Rehearsals in dusty lofts where actors chain-smoked and emoted wildly. Drag brunches in the village where queens in sequins belted show tunes with gospel fire. Jonathan, ever the quiet observer, found his voice in Adam's orbit, sketching charcoal portraits of street performers and buskers that Adam tacked to the fridge like trophies. But the past has teeth, and it sank them deep that autumn. A letter arrived, postmarked mobile, the envelope crisp as a subpoena. Inside, a clipping from the local paper, local family disowns deviant son after scandal. His father's words, twisted into print. Jonathan Hale, a poison on the community, better off forgotten. Worse, a photo him and Tommy, blurry but unmistakable, splashed across the society page like a scarlet letter. The article called for a town meeting, whispers of boycotts against those who harbor such filth. Jonathan's hands shook as he read, the room spinning. Adam found him curled on the fire escape, chain-smoking camels into the October chill. "They're trying to bury me alive," Jonathan whispered, the words choking out like bile. Adam knelt beside him, cupping his face with hands that smelled of espresso and stage paint. "Then we'll dig you out." Together, it was Adam who suggested the return, not out of vengeance, but reclamation. You can't let them win by running forever. Go back. Face it. Show them the man you are now. Jonathan resisted at first, the fear a lead weight in his gut, but Adam's quiet persistence wore him down. They planned it like a heist, a road trip south in Adam's beat-up Subaru, hitting key stops: Philly for a queer history tour, DC for a rally on the Mall to steal their nerves. By Thanksgiving, they were crossing the Mason-Dixon, the radio tuned to country stations that twisted Jonathan's knife with every twangy chorus about lost love and homecoming. Mobile welcomed them with a false smile. Spanish moss dripping from live oaks like funeral veils, the air thick with salt and regret. They checked into a motel on the outskirts, the neon vacancy sign flickering like a bad omen. That first night, Jonathan drove them to the old Hale farm under cover of dusk, the gravel crunching like bones under tires. The house loomed, porch light on as always, but the swing where he dreamed as a kid hung still, rotted through. His mother answered the door, her face a map of new lines, eyes widening at the sight of him, taller now, leaner, with Adam's hand firm in his. "John? Lord, is that you?" "Yeah, Mama. It's me." He stepped inside, Adam close behind, the scent of fried okra and magnolia hitting like a wave. His father sat at the kitchen table, newspaper folded, shotgun propped in the corner like a sentinel. The silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. "You got some nerve?" Earl Hale growled, not rising, his voice gravel over glass. "I got every nerve. This is my home." Jonathan's words came steady, bolstered by Adam's thumb brushing his knuckles. They talked or tried to over cooling coffee, accusations flying like buckshot, perversion, betrayal, the stain on the family name. His mother wept silently, wringing her apron, while siblings hovered in doorways, faces masks of confusion and complicity. It escalated at the town hall meeting 2 nights later, the VFW post buzzing with locals in flannel and pearls, the air electric with rumor. Pastor Reynolds, a bull of a man with a Bible-thumping drawl, had rallied them. "We've got sin in our midst, brothers and sisters. Time to cleanse it." Jonathan and Adam walked in hand, the room falling to a hush broken only by murmurs and the scrape of chairs. Eyes bored into them, old teachers, fishing buddies, the widow who'd baked him pies. Reynolds ascended the podium, voice booming. Jonathan Hale, once one of our own, now a prodigal returned to flaunt his shame. And bringing a companion, this ain't love, son. It's abomination. Jonathan stood, heart pounding, but Adam squeezed his hand. You're not alone, and the words poured out. He spoke of the boy who'd hidden in church basements, praying the gay away, of the shotgun night that scarred more than skin, of finding grace not in fire and brimstone sermons, but in a city of outcasts who built cathedrals from dive bars. You tried to erase me, he said, voice cracking but clear, because I loved wrong. But love isn't a switch you flip off. It's the compass that got me here. Standing tall, the room erupted, shouts of agreement from the faithful, gasps from the fence-sitters. A bottle sailed from the back, shattering at their feet in a spray of glass and beer. Adam shielded Jonathan instinctively, his own voice rising. You think silence makes you righteous? I've seen real erasure in the plays we stage, the histories we bury. But voices like ours, they echo. And this one's louder than your hate. Fists clenched. A burly deacon lunged forward. But Jonathan's mother, God bless her, barreled into the fray, her slight frame a wall of maternal fury. Enough! That's my boy you're threatenin'. Chaos reigned. Chairs toppling. Voices overlapping in a cacophony of Bible quotes and curses. In the melee, Tommy appeared from the shadows, face gaunt but eyes alight, whispering to Jonathan, I never stopped fightin' for you. They escaped into the night, piled into the Subaru with scrapes and adrenaline, the town lights receding like a bad dream. But the betrayal cut deepest the next morning. A call from Rico in New York, voice tight. Your old man's pressin' charges, trespassin'. Incident a riot. And Tommy, he sold you out to the paper for a payout. Said it was to move on. The words landed like a sucker punch. Tommy, the first love, the one who'd promised forever in silo shadows, betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. Jonathan retched into the roadside ditch, Adam holding his hair back, murmuring nonsense about better tomorrows. He was weak, Adam said finally, as they drove north again, the Gulf Coast blurring past. But we're not. The road home was a reckoning. They detoured through New Orleans, jazz funerals marching in the streets like ironic fanfare, and Jonathan let the saxophone wail out his grief. In a quarter cafe, over beignet dusted with sugar like fresh snow, he confessed the full weight. I thought coming back would fix me. Make them see. Adam leaned across the table, fingers lacing with his. It wasn't about them. It was about you claiming your story. And ours. That night, in a creaky bed and breakfast, they made love slow and deliberate, bodies mapping forgiveness in the flicker of gas lamps. Adam's whispers were poetry, Whitman reborn. I celebrate myself and sing myself. And what I assume you shall assume. Jonathan laughed through tears, the sound foreign and freeing. Back in Brooklyn by Christmas, the charges fizzled, small-town bluster without teeth, but the scars lingered. Jonathan's mother sent a letter, tentative olive branch. Proud of your courage, son. Doors open if you want it. No apology from his father, but a P.S. From a sibling, town's changin'. Some eyes opened. Tommy faded into irrelevance. a footnote in the novel of their lives. Spring brought renewal. Adam landed a role in a queer indie film, Echoes Unsilenced, where Jonathan consulted on the script, infusing it with Southern grit. They moved to a brighter apartment in Harlem, walls lined with Jonathan's evolving art, portraits of resilient faces, from drag kings to activists. Pride that year, they marched not as survivors, but victors, hands linked under rainbow arches. Yet the drama peaked one humid July eve, a callback to that shotgun night. A package arrived, his father's Bible, pages marked at Leviticus, with a note, "Come home. Alone. Or stay gone forever." Jonathan's resolve cracked, old wounds weeping. He drove south solo, Adam's plea, "Don't let him win," echoing unanswered. The farm was a ghost under harvest moon, cicadas chorusing like a dirge. Earl waited on the porch, older, frielier, shotgun nowhere in sight. "Heard you're making waves up there," he grunted, offering a rocker. They sat in silence first, fireflies winking like hesitant apologies. "Why'd you do it, Dad? Fire on your own blood." Earl's eyes, milky with age, met his. "Fear, son. Feared losing you to a world that chews up boys like us. Thought the good book said. But it lied." A pause, heavy as humidity. "Your mama's gone. Cancer took her last winter. Whispered your name to the end. Said tell you she loved you fierce." The confession shattered the dam. Jonathan wept for the mother he'd lost twice, for the father remade in grief's forge. "I brought someone," he said finally. "Adam. He's family now." Earl nodded, slow as dawn. "Then bring him. We'll fry catfish. Start over." Dawn broke as Jonathan sped back to New York, the highway a ribbon of redemption. Adam waited at the airport, not JFK's chaos, but a private airstrip fantasy they joked about, arms open, grins splitting wide. "Told you we'd silence nothing." They returned together that fall, not as conquerors, but kin. The town hall hosted a different meeting. Stories from the margins, Jonathan reading excerpts from his memoir in progress, Adam performing a one-act on hidden loves. Faces once twisted in scorn now softened. Pastor Reynolds in the front row, nodding. Tommy slunk in back, eyes downcast. Jonathan spared him a nod, forgiveness a quiet exhale. In the end, erasure failed. Jonathan and Adam built a life threaded with American grit. A brownstone in the village, adopted rescue dog named Whitman, collaborations on queer theater that toured from Seattle to Savannah. Their love, once a whisper in the wind, roared, a testament that what they couldn't silence was the heart's unyielding song. Years later, on their 10th anniversary, under that same Brooklyn bridge, Adam knelt with a ring, simple gold band etched with a compass rose. "You returned with me," he said, voice thick, "and showed the world we can't be undone." Jonathan pulled him up, kissing him fierce against the skyline's glow. "We never were." The weight of that ring on Jonathan's finger felt like an anchor in the best way, grounding him amid the whirlwind that followed their engagement. New York buzzed with its usual frenzy. Taxis honking like impatient geese, street vendors hawking pretzels twisted into hearts for the romantics. But for Jonathan, the city had softened at the edges, the sharp elbows now invitations to dream. Adam, ever the showman, turned their planning into performance art mood boards pinned with Polaroids of potential venues, from rustic barns in the Hudson Valley to rooftop lofts overlooking the East River. No tuxes, Adam declared one rainy afternoon in their Harlem kitchen, flour dusted from an experimental gumbo. We're doing linen shirts, bare feet on grass, and vows that make Hemingway weep. Jonathan laughed, the sound still a novelty after years of guarded chuckles. As long as there's no shotgun involved. But beneath the banter, a current of vulnerability hummed. Returning to mobile had mended some rifts, his father's gruff emails about football scores, a niece's crayon drawings of Uncle John and Uncle Adam holding hands. But scars don't fade like ink in sunlight. Nightmares crept in, dreams of cornfields ablaze, his mother's ghost fading into magnolia petals. Adam would wake him with coffee and quiet stories from his own Ohio youth, closeted crushes on the quarterback, a Bible study group that doubled as conversion therapy light. We're both escape artists, Adam would say, pulling him close. But this is our masterpiece. The proposal's echo rippled outward, drawing their patchwork family into orbit. Rico flew in from his gallery opening in L.A., bearing a leather-bound sketchbook as a gift. For the toasts you'll never write but always feel. From the South. Earl Hale arrived unannounced one crisp October morning. Truck bed loaded with heirloom okra seeds and a cooler of fresh-caught base. He clapped Jonathan on the back too hard, muttering, "Heard you're tyin' the knot. Better make it count. Ain't no divorce in heaven." Adam, unfazed, dragged him to a drag brunch, where Earl's initial scowl melted into belly laughs at a Queen's rendition of Sweet Home Alabama in fishnets and fringe. By evening, he was toasting with mimosas, confessing over cigars on the fire escape. "Thought I'd lost you forever. Boy. Glad I was wrong." But harmony is a fragile melody in stories like theirs, and conflict struck like a summer squall. Started with a call from Tommy. Yes, that Tommy. Voicemail left at 2 a.m., slurred with bourbon and regret. "John, man, saw your pic in the Times art section. Looking good. I messed up bad. Can we talk? For old times." Jonathan deleted it without reply, but the worm of doubt burrowed. Tommy, the first to kiss him under stadium lights, the one whose betrayal had fueled his northward flight, now clawing back, a specter in khakis and a real estate broker's smile. Adam sensed the shift, the way Jonathan's sketches turned darker, figures half-shadowed with longing eyes. "He's poison," Adam said flatly one night, as they walked the High Line, fairy lights twinkling like hesitant stars. "Don't let him rewrite our happy ending." "It's not that," Jonathan lied, then sighed. "It's the what-ifs. What if I'd stayed? What if he hadn't sold me out?" Adam stopped, turning him by the shoulders, city hum fading to their breaths. "Then you wouldn't have me. And I'd be some sad sack barista swiping right on losers." His kiss was fierce, tasting of street cart falafel, a reminder that love isn't a zero-sum game. But the seed was planted, and when Tommy showed up at their brownstone door a week later, disheveled, eyes red-rimmed, clutching a bottle of Jack like a peace offering, the dam broke. "I just want to apologize," Tommy pleaded, voice cracking on the stoop. "The money. It was for Ma's medical bills. I was desperate, John. But I never stopped loving you." Jonathan's chest tightened, memories flooding. Lazy afternoons in the bayou, hands exploring in pickup trucks, promises etched in firefly jars. Adam hovered in the hallway, arms crossed, but Jonathan waved him off. "5 minutes," he said, stepping out into the chill. They talked on the steps, words tumbling like autumn leaves. Regrets, recriminations. The raw ache of paths diverged. Tommy admitted the town's pressure cooker had crushed him. Whispers turned to ultimatums, his own coming out a suicide note he never sent. You were brave. I wasn't. By the end, no grand reconciliation. Just a nod and a take care. But as Tommy walked away, Jonathan felt the old pull, a gravitational tug toward the boy he'd buried. That night, the fight erupted like 4th of July fireworks gone wrong. Adam paced the living room, voice rising over the sizzle of takeout Thai. You let him in, John. After everything, the article, the meeting, the betrayal. What are we, if not the ones who choose each other? Jonathan slammed his fork down, green curry splattering like abstract art. It's not about choosing, it's about not letting hate turn me to stone. Tommy's human, broken like the rest of us. Broken? He's a goddamn opportunist. Adam's face flushed, green eyes flashing. And you're romanticizing the hell out of him because facing your dad again scared you shitless. Admit it, you're running from us. The words hung, toxic as exhaust. Jonathan stormed out, wandering the village until dawn, ending up at the Stonewall Memorial, tracing the plaques of names long silenced. By sunrise, he returned, Adam asleep on the couch, sketchbook open to a half-finished portrait of them both. Tangled, triumphant. Jonathan sank beside him, whispering apologies into his hair. You're right. I got scared. But you're my north, Adam. Always. They rebuilt from the rubble. Therapy sessions in a sunlit Chelsea office where a no-nonsense counselor named Marco unpacked their baggage like a pro. Love's a verb, Marco said, accent thick with Jersey edge. Y'all gotta conjugate it daily. Dates recommenced. Poetry slams in Nuyorican cafes, where Jonathan read verses about shotgun shells and second chances, volunteer shifts at the Ali Forney Center, serving meals to queer youth who'd fled their own Alabamas. Intimacy deepened, bodies speaking what words fumbled, slow mornings in bed, tracing tattoos like Braille, afternoons lost in the Met's arm's wing, whispering forever amid marble lovers. Wedding plans accelerated. A spring affair in a Catskills meadow, wildflowers nodding like approving ants. Invites went out, Rico as best man, Earl walking Jonathan down an aisle of pine needles. But drama, that uninvited guest, crashed the rehearsal dinner. A storm rolled in off the Hudson, thunder rumbling like divine disapproval, stranding guests in the inn's great room. Amid forced small talk and spiked punch, Tommy appeared, uninvited, of course, face gaunt under string lights, claiming a wrong turn from his Atlanta drive. Chaos simmered. Earl's jaw clenched like a vice, Rico muttering Spanish curses, Adam's smile ablaze. Jonathan pulled Tommy aside to the veranda, rain lashing the rails. Why now? Why here? Tommy's eyes, once bright as bayou stars, were hollow. Saw the announcement online. Couldn't not come. John. I'm sick. Pancreatic. Docs give me months. The confession landed soft as sleet, rewriting the villain in grayscale. Pity warred with prudence. But Jonathan's humanity won. Stay for the toast. Then go. They re-entered as uneasy allies. Tommy's presence a thorn no one pulled. Over venison and vows practiced in murmurs, Earl raised his glass, voice rough, to family not the blood kind, but the chosen. Y'all taught this old dog new tricks. Eyes met across tables, forgiveness flickering like lightning. The wedding dawned golden, mist burning off the valley like regret. Jonathan stood barefoot in linen, compass tattoo gleaming, as Adam approached through wild grasses, blonde hair haloed by sun. Vows exchanged were Whitman woven. I give you my hand, my heart, my unflinching gaze. Rings slid on, sealing promises. Tommy watched from the back, a ghost fading into applause, slipping away before cake, his parting gift a note. You won. Be happy. Honeymoon in Provincetown, Cape Cod's queer haven, dune walks at twilight, clams steamed with white wine, nights where the ocean's roar drowned out doubts. Back home, life settled into rhythm. Jonathan's art show at a Soho gallery, erased no more, canvases of resilient faces selling to collectors who wept. Adam's film premiere at Tribeca, where Jonathan's backstory inspired a standing ovation. But climax brewed in the quiet months after, a betrayal not from without, but within. Jonathan's memoir, Shotgun Psalms, hit shelves with fanfare, Oprah's book club nod, podcasts dissecting its raw grace. Royalties flowed, enough for a down payment on a house upstate, dreams of quiet acres where they could foster kids one day. Fame's glare brought old shadows, interview requests from mobile journalists, a documentary crew sniffing for scandal. It cracked during a signing in Birmingham, neutral ground. The lines snaked out the bookstore door, faces a mosaic curious liberals, wary conservatives, a cluster of high school friends with forced smiles. Adam flew down for support, but tension crackled. He'd been distant lately, rehearsals for a Broadway revival of Angels in America pulling him into late nights and whispered calls. Post-event, over ribs at a dive on 20th Street, Jonathan confronted it. You're pulling away. Is it the book? Me dredging up Tommy? The farm? Making you feel like the rebound? Adam's fork paused, sauce dripping like bloodless wounds. It's not. God, John, it's me. This role prior Walter, dying of AIDS, raging at heaven, it's excavating shit I buried. And yeah, seeing you heal with your dad, Tommy's ghost show. It makes me feel small. Like I'm the pretty sidekick in your epic. The admission gutted him. Sidekick? You're the goddamn hero. Without you, I'd still be running. Tears mixed with sauce. The booth a confessional. They drove back to the motel in silence. Storm clouds gathering like unspoken fears. That night, lovemaking was desperate. Bodies clawing for connection. But dawn brought the real tempest. Adam's phone buzzing with a text from his agent. Lead in a Hollywood biopic. Filming in LA starting next month. It's huge, Adam said, excitement warring with dread. But it means time apart. Jonathan's heart plummeted. How long? 6 months. Maybe more. The words hung, the chasm widening. Panic clawed. Echoes of shotgun nights. Abandonments past. You're leaving. Just like that. After vows. Rings. No. Adam grabbed his hands. Rings clinking. It's a bridge, not a break. We video call. Fly weekends. This is our story too. Growth. Not goodbye, but doubt festered. A slow poison. Jonathan returned to New York solo, burying in work, gallery openings, foster care orientations. Adam's calls grew sporadic, static-laced from coast to coast. Whispers from theater gossips reached him. Adam spotted at after-parties with a co-star, just networking, but photos online showed arms slung casual. Laughs too intimate. Betrayal bloomed full in a late-night voicemail. Adam's voice slurred. Miss you, babe. That guy's intense. Reminds me of us. Early days. Don't overthink. Jonathan hurled his phone. Glass shattering against the wall. Shards like his trust. The confrontation came via FaceTime. Adam's face pixelated in a hotel room glow. It's nothing. Flirting for the camera. Method acting bullshit. Bullshit. Jonathan's voice rose. Bro. You promised no more ghosts. But you're chasing them with him. With the spotlight. Am I just your southern redemption arc? Adam's eyes welled. Screen blurring. You're everything. This role is tearing me open. I need space to breathe, John. To not drown in us. The line went dead, literal and figurative. Jonathan collapsed, sobs racking, the brownstone echoing empty. Days blurred. Rico staging an intervention over whiskey. Earl calling from the farm. Son, love's a fight. Don't tap out. But pride held him back. A wall of silence. Climax crashed 2 weeks later. Adam's flight landing unannounced at LaGuardia. Storm raging outside like his resolve. He burst into the brownstone soaked, dropping a duffel with a thud. I quit the film. Jonathan, mid-sketch at the kitchen table, gaped. What? Quit. Walked off set. Because without you, it's all hollow. The co-star? A prop. The distance? My fear of not being enough for your epic. Adam knelt, water pooling. I tried to be the wanderer, but I'm home in you. Forgiveness flooded, arms enveloping, kisses salt-tanged with rain. We're enough, Jonathan whispered. Flawed, fierce hours. In the afterglow of reconciliation, Jonathan and Adam rebuilt not just their bond, but their blueprint for living. No more solo epics. They co-authored from then on. Adam pivoted to a New York-based project, a queer reimagining of our town at the Public Theater, where everyday Americana cracked open to reveal hidden loves. Jonathan dove deeper into advocacy, partnering with GLSEN for Southern outreach programs, traveling to high schools in the Bible Belt with workshops on stories that stick. Their upstate house hunt yielded a fixer-upper Victorian in Hudson, New York, sagging porches reborn as wraparound dreams, a yard for vegetable patches echoing Earl's Okra legacy. Life's rhythm steadied, punctuated by small miracles, adopting a scruffy terrier mix named Echo, who yipped at squirrels like a feisty chorus, hosting game nights with a growing circle, Rico's artist crew, Adam's actor pals, even a video call cameo from Pastor Reynolds, who'd started a Welcoming Waters ministry back home. Romance simmered domestic, Tuesday taco nights with craft IPAs, Sunday hikes in the Catskills where they'd pause at overlooks, tracing constellations in each other's palms. Yet drama, that persistent playwright, scripted its next act through an unexpected messenger. Jonathan's niece, little Eliza, now 12 and fierce as a hurricane. She arrived by train from Mobile one summer weekend, braids flying, backpack stuffed with contraband comics and a mission. Grandpa sent me, she announced over pancakes, syrup dripping like secrets. Says you and Uncle Adam need to come for the reunion. The big one, hail centennial. No excuses. Jonathan's fork hovered. Memories bittersweet. The family reunion. Annual pilgrimage to the farm. Tables groaning under potlucks. Kinfolk swapping tall tales. Last one he'd attended was pre-shotgun. A boy in denial. Dad's still on that pray the gay away kick? Eliza rolled her eyes. Tween sass pure gold. Nah, he's mellowed. Reads your book. Cried over the mama parts. Even has a rainbow sticker on his truck. Low-key, but it's there. Adam, eavesdropping from the coffee pot, arched a brow. Trap? Opportunity, Jonathan countered, heart tugging south. They agreed, packing the Subaru with coolers and courage. Echo in the back seat for moral support. The drive was a time machine, interstates giving way to bayous, radio flipping from indie folk to twangy anthems that Adam mock-sang off-key, easing the knot in Jonathan's gut. Mobile embraced them warily at first, the farm spruced with bunting, air thick with fried chicken and fire ants. Earl crushed Jonathan in a bear hug, whispering, "Proud, son. Real proud." The spread was epic. Aunts in floral muumuus stirring gumbo, cousins tossing footballs, a bluegrass band tuning fiddles. Adam fit like he'd been born to it, charming the grannies with cornbread compliments and joining a pickup game where his dramatic dives drew cheers. But under the bonhomie, undercurrents swirled. Whispers followed them. "That's the one from the papers. Heard they got hitched up yonder." Tommy lurked on the fringes, invited by blood ties, nursing a beer with eyes that lingered too long. At sunset, as fireflies ignited the fields, he cornered Jonathan by the old oak, the same scarred by shotgun pellets years back. "Place looks the same," Tommy said, voice low, gravelly from chemo's toll. "You look whole." Jonathan nodded, wariness a shield. "Life does that. Glues the cracks with gold." Tommy coughed, a wet rattle. "Heard about the quit. Adam's all in. Huh? Wish I'd had that guts." Regret etched his face, deeper than illness. Before Jonathan could respond, a shout from the tents, trouble brewing. It was the deacon from the town hall, face purpled with PBR, jabbing a finger at Adam mid-conversation with Eliza. "You city folk think you can waltz in, preachin' your agenda? This here's God's country." Earl stepped in, broad as a barn door. "Easy, Harlan. They're family." But Harlan wasn't done. Spittle flying. "Family? That boy's a recruitin' devil. Tunnin' our kids." The crowd hushed. Powder keg moment. Adam, cool as Catskills fog, stepped forward. "Recruiting? Nah, sir. Just loving out loud. Saw your daughter earlier, sweet kid. Asked about my tattoo. That's the agenda. Showing it's okay to be you." Murmurs rippled, Harlan deflating like a punctured tire. Eliza piped up, "Uncle Adam's cool. He does voices like pirate voices for bedtime." Laughter broke the tension, defusing the bomb. Later, by the fire pit, Harlan shuffled over, mumbling, "Sorry about that. Lost a brother to the virus back in '92. Makes a man jumpy." Adam clasped his shoulder. "Lost friends too. But hate don't honor him. Stories do." The night wove magic after. Stars pricking the velvet sky. Banjo plucks harmonizing with bullfrog choruses. Jonathan and Adam slow danced on the grass. Kinfolk averting eyes or smiling soft. Tommy watched, a shadow fading, his own dance long denied. Reunion's glow lingered on the drive north, but conflict shadowed homecoming. Jonathan's book tour extended, a TED Talk in Boston, panels in San Francisco, pulling him from the Hudson nest. Adam, immersed in our town previews, felt the strain. Empty beds, echoes whine at the door. "We're drifting again." he confessed over a rare dinner, candles flickering on takeout containers. Not drifting, Jonathan argued, jet-lagged and guilty. Expanding, but expansion cracked under pressure. A tabloid blind item, Broadway heartthrob's open secret, farm boy fiancé or fling, hit like shrapnel, fueled by reunion photos leaked online. Phones blew up, agents advising damage control, fans dissecting their every touch. Adam, raw from stage fright, snapped during a rehearsal break call. They see us as a punchline. John. Your southern saint. My urban sinner. It's exhausting. Jonathan, mid-airport security line, fumed silently. Then let's own it. Press junket together. No hiding. The junket was a gauntlet. Morning shows with perky hosts probing, how'd you'll meet? Podcasts digging for dirt on Tommy's ghost. They tag-teamed. Jonathan's drawl grounding Adam's flair. Laughing off jabs. Sharing the shotgun story as triumph. Not tragedy. One viral clip. Adam kissing Jonathan's temple mid-answer. Quipping, that's how we met. Messy. Memorable. Mine. Fame's double edge cut deeper privately. Returning home, they found the Victorian vandalized. Windows soaped with slurs. Fags Geo home, scrawled in red across the porch. Police shrugged. Kids. Probably. But the violation chilled. Echo cowered under beds. Adam's sleep fractured by patrols in his mind. This is what erasure looks like, Jonathan said, scrubbing paint with bleach that burned his hands. Not just words, actions. Adam pulled him inside, locking doors. Then we fortify. Alarms, community watch. And that foster kid application? Double down. Their first placement arrived a month later. 16-year-old Kai, a trans boy from rural Pennsylvania, eyes wide as saucers at the city skyline view from their hill. Skittish at first, flinching at raised voices, hoarding snacks like ammo, Kai thought over shared sketches, Jonathan teaching him charcoal strokes while Adam directed impromptu improv sessions. You're safe here, Adam said one night, passing popcorn during a Rocky Horror screening. No one's erasing you on our watch. Kai's integration brought light, but drama escalated when his bio family surfaced. A demand for reclamation via court papers, citing confusion over his identity. The hearing in Albany was a battlefield. Social workers droning stats. Kai's mother tear-streaked. He's my baby girl. Jonathan and Adam testified. Voices steady. Stories of shotgun nights, Stonewall stands, the alchemy of chosen family. The judge ruled for Kai, temporary guardianship to them, but the victory tasted bittersweet, mother's wail echoing in the hall. Driving home, Kai silent in the back. Jonathan gripped Adam's knee. We can't save 'em all, but we save who we can, Adam replied, eyes on the rear view. Starting with us. Climax crested that winter, a betrayal forged in firelight. Earl called late, voice quavering. Son, come quick. Harlan's rallying, the old guard, town hall redux, but uglier. Talk of cleansing the South from queers like you. Rumors swirled. Petitions to ban Jonathan's book from schools. Protests at the Welcoming Waters Church. They rallied troops. Rico flying in with megaphone metaphors. Kai designing protest graphics with fierce lines. But the gut punch came on route Tommy's email, forwarded by Eliza. Harlan paid me to testify against you. Said it'd clear my debts. I did it, John. For the kid in me who couldn't. Rage boiled. A southern storm. At the mobile airport, Jonathan paced, Adam's hand a tether. He's dying, babe. Doesn't excuse it, but excuses are his crutch. Not mine. Jonathan's resolve hardened to steel. The town hall overflowed, air thick with sweat and scripture. Harlan thundered from the podium. They're exportin' sin from Yankee land. Corruptin' our youth. Boos and amens clashed like cymbals. Jonathan ascended, Adam at his side, Kai in the wings with a laptop of stats. Y'all know me, he began, voice carrying like revival fire. The boy you tried to bury. But roots run deep, deeper than hate. He wove their tapestry. Adam's Ohio grit, Kai's Pennsylvania fire, even Tommy's tragic arc as cautionary. Betrayal stings, but it don't define us. Love does. Harlan lunged, but Earl blocked him, bellowing, Stand down, this here's progress. You fossil. The room fractured, walkouts. Whoops. A deacon's daughter standing to applaud. I love my gay uncle. Outside. Rain lashed as they emerged. Crowd splitting. Foes jeering. Allies embracing. Tommy waited by the curb. Frail under street lamp. Rain masking tears. I lied up there. Told Harlan no. Cost me the payout. But owed you that. Jonathan paused. Adam nodding subtle. Redemption's a road. Tommy. Walk it straight. A handshake. Final as fog lifting. Back north. The Hudson house glowed like beacon. Kai hugged them fierce. You two? Unbreakable. And in bed that night, bodies entwined, Adam murmured, We silenced nothing. We amplified everything. Spring unfurled in the Hudson Valley like a long-held breath released, dogwoods blushing pink against the river's steady flow. Jonathan and Adam's life there settled into a cadence of creation. Mornings with coffee on the porch, echo chasing squirrels across dew-kissed lawns. Afternoons split, Jonathan in his studio, canvases blooming with portraits of Kai's evolving self-portraits. Adam scripting a new play, unsilenced echoes, drawing from their rally triumph. Kai, now blooming at 17, juggled online school with part-time gigs at the local bookstore, his laughter a soundtrack that filled the Victorians' once echoing halls. Family threads wove tighter. Earl's visits became quarterly, the old truck rumbling up with coolers of Gulf shrimp and tales of that queer pastor stirrin' the pot. He'd even brought Harlan once. The two grizzled vets bonding over war stories and wary truces. Harlan admitting over checkers. Your boy's got spine. Reminds me of my squad brother, lost to silence. Never spoke his truth. Progress. Incremental as kudzu reclaiming offense. Romance. 2. Deepened in quiet ways. Anniversary trips to Fire Island, where they'd rent a dune shack and lose days to beach reeds and bonfires. Surprise serenades from Adam, belting show tunes while flipping pancakes. Jonathan joining in off-key harmony. Intimacy was their sanctuary. Nights where hands mapped familiar terrains, whispers trading dreams of biological kids one day. Or just more of this. A love unhurried, profound. But stories demand tension, and there's coiled anew through Kai's awakening. His first crush, a barista named Leo at the cafe. All dimples and Dylan lyrics. Spark joy, then jeopardy. Stolen glances turned to coffee dates, but Leo's conservative folks caught wind, staging an intervention that escalated to threats. Choose us or that freak show. Kai confided in them over late-night cocoa. Voice trembling. It's like my old life. Crashing the new. Jonathan's protective fire ignited. "We fight smart," he said, channeling rally grit. Adam nodded, pulling up resources, PFLAG meetups, legal hotlines. They coached Kai through coming outs, texts to Leo's phone, a family dinner where Jonathan shared his shotgun saga, Adam his closet crushes. "Love's worth the storm," Adam said, as Leo's parents stormed out, doors slamming like judgments. The backlash bit hard. Leo, buckling under pressure, ghosted Kai with a curt "sorry. Can't." Heartbreak hollowed him, days in bed, sketches crumpled like hopes. Jonathan sat vigil, reading Whitman aloud. "Henceforth I ask not good fortune. I myself am good fortune." Adam staged grief cabarets, improv sessions where Kai voiced his pain through characters, laughter seeping in like dawn. Healing came circuitous. A summer theater camp in Saratoga, where Kai directed a queer Midsummer Night's Dream, casting Leo's stand-in as a redeemed puck. Adam guest-starred, winking at Jonathan in the audience. "Our boy's a director now, watch out." Broadway, pride swelled. But conflict shadowed the camp's end. A call from social services. Kai's bio family suing for custody reversal, claiming the unstable queer household endangered him. The legal fray was a marathon of depositions and dread. Courtrooms in Albany felt like coliseums, lawyers circling with affidavits. Kai's mother, eyes shadowed by regret, testified, "I was wrong before, but he's confused, needs real family." Jonathan's rebuttal, voice steady, "Real families, the ones who stay when it hurts. We have, through vandalisms, betrayals, your abandonments." Adam's turn was theater gold. "Kai's not a prop in your redemption. He's a person, trans, talented, thriving. Deny that. You deny him." Witnesses piled on Earl via video. Gruff, "Boy's tougher than I was at his age." Rico with photo montages of Kai's art evolution. Verdict day dawned gray, tension thick as fog. Judge ruled permanency with them, guardianship bordering adoption. Mother's sobs a dirge in the hall. Kai collapsed into hugs outside, whispering, "You saved me." But victory's vine bore thorns. The stress unearthed Jonathan's dormant doubts, nightmares of erasure returning with vengeance. "What if we're not enough?" he confessed to Adam one midnight, river lapping like accusations. "Kai's just the start. Kids, community. We're flawed, babe." Adam's embrace was ironclad. "Flaws are our fertilizer. Watch us grow." Growth tested in autumn's blaze, when Unsilenced Echoes premiered off-Broadway. The play, a mosaic of their lives, shotgun blasts to rally roars, drew raves, but also thorns, critics sniffing sentimental slop, trolls online dubbing it gay propaganda. Worse, a leaked script draft revealed Adam's raw lines on their fight. The rebound fear, intimate wounds now public fodder. Jonathan seethed at the cast party, gin fizz souring. "You wrote our pain for applause?" Adam, buzzed on adrenaline, defended, "Art from life, John. It's catharsis, helps others see their scars ain't fatal." Fatal? It's betrayal. My heart on stage. Without veto, the argument spilled into the alley. Rain slicking cobblestones, voices echoing off brick. "You're jealous?" Adam shot back, unfair as lightning. "Your book's sacred. Mine's spectacle? We're partners. Share the mess." Jonathan stormed to the river, walking miles until dawn. Phone dark. Home by sunrise. Adam waited with coffee. Eyes red. "I cut the lines. Script's yours to approve. Always." Apology sealed with touches tender. But the rift lingered, a reminder that even unbreakables bend. Climax forged in fire that December. Betrayals blade from an unlikely hand. Earl called. Urgent. Farms burnin'. Son. Arson, they say. Harlan's crew. Payback for the rally. Jonathan's blood iced. The oak. The silo. His childhood reduced to ash. They flew south. Kai in tow for solidarity. Mobile's winter was mild but mournful. Fire trucks silent. Farm a skeleton of char. Earl stood amid rubble. Face soot-streaked. Shotgun. Ironic relic. Propped nearby. Lost the barn. Some tools. But the house stands. Investigators pointed to Harlan. Tire tracks matching his truck. A dropped Zippo etched with Deacon initials. Confrontation brewed at the VFW. Neutral ground. Locals packing pew-like benches. Harlan arrived cuffed but defiant. Flanked by lawyers. You torched my home, Earl growled. Voice thunder. For what? 'Cause my son's love scares you? Harlan spat. Scares? It's war. Your boy's poison spreadin'. Tenin good folk soft. Jonathan rose. Adam's hand in his. Kai filming discreet for evidence. War? This is family. Harlan. Yours too, that daughter who applauded us? She's braver than your hate. He projected Kai's camp video on a borrowed screen. Trans teens shining. Echoes of silenced voices. The room shifted, muttered agreements. A cousin's enough. Uncle. Harlan cracked. Cuffs clinking. Lost my brother. Thought fired purify. But it's me burnin' inside. No arrests that night, community justice. A vow to rebuild together. Back at the motel. Exhaustion crashed. But so did catharsis. Tommy appeared at dawn. Unbidden. Bearing rebuild blueprints from his broker days. Last gift. John. Then I'm gone. Hospice in Atlanta. His eyes held peace. Betrayals debt paid. Jonathan clasped his arm. Safe travels. Tommy. Wherever. Winter thawed to renewal. Farm raised anew with Yankee funds and Southern sweat. A queer community center in the Barnstead Echo House. Workshops for out youth. Kai's adoption finalized under spring blossoms. His middle name Hale Whitman. Bridging blood and bard. Their love, tempered in trials, glowed molten. On the Hudson porch that solstice, Adam pulled Jonathan close, stars wheeling above. They tried to erase us, all of us. But look, we're the story that writes back. Summer symphony played full in the Hudson Valley that year. Crickets chirping anthems at dusk. Fireflies pulsing like heartbeats in the meadow. Echo House opened its doors with a ribbon cutting that drew a crowd. Earl wielding oversized shears. Kai emceeing with mic in hand. Adam and Jonathan flanking like proud sentinels. The barn, reborn in reclaimed wood and rainbow beams. Buzzed with possibility, art studios for sketching dreams. Stages for voicing fears. A library stocked with Jonathan's donated memoirs and Whitman's leaves. This ain't just buildin', Earl boomed in his toast. Sweat beading under his trucker cap. It's testifyin'. Testimony flowed in waves. First residents. Teens fleeing Carolina closets or Texas trials. Sharing circles where stories spilled like rain on tin roofs. Jonathan facilitated. His southern lilt a bomb. Y'all ain't broken. You're bein' written. Adam wove in theater therapy. Improv games turning trauma to triumph. Freeze. Now rewrite the scene with superpowers. Kai. Thriving in college prep. Mentored the youngest. His trans journey a lighthouse. I got erased once. Now, I'm the whole damn page. Their personal narrative harmonized too. The rift from Adam's script leak mended through co-creation. A joint graphic novel. Compass hearts. Jonathan's art entwining Adam's words. Panels of shotgun nights fading to rally dawns. Intimate frames of bed-tangled forgiveness. Publishers clamored, but they self-published, donating proceeds to Echo House, keeping the soul pure. Romance ripened in stolen pockets. Picnics by the river, where Adam recited original sonnets. Jonathan sketching his profile against willows. Volunteer weekends in Mobile. Hands dirty in community gardens. Nights stealing kisses under Spanish moss. Intimacy evolved less urgent, more sacred. Mornings where they'd linger in sheets. Planning futures. 2 kids. Maybe, 1 bio. 1 adopted, like our remix. But climax demands crescendo. And there's crested in autumn's amber glow. Betrayal's final echo from the grave. Tommy passed quietly in October. Hospice note delivered via Eliza. Tell John I found peace. Loved him first, but you loved him best. T. Enclosed. A locket high school photo of them. Bayou Bright, and a confession. Harlan blackmailed me years back. The article payout, half went to his Purify fund. I stayed silent to protect you. Forgive, if you can. The revelation rocked. Tommy, not villain but victim. His betrayal's chains forged in fear. Jonathan drove to the farm alone. Adam respecting the space. Leaves crunching under tires like brittle bones. Earl met him at the new barn door. Face lined deeper. Got the letter too. Boy carried heavy. Inside. Under rafters strung with lights. Jonathan wept. Not for loss, but layers peeled. He saved me. In the end. By breaking. Earl nodded. Pouring bourbon from a flask. Redemption's messy. Like this place burned. Rebuilt stronger. They talked till stars pricked. Father-son bonds reforged in firelight. Earl admitting his own silenced youth. A Milltown crush buried in Nam foxholes. Thought hate kept me safe. You showed love does. Return North brought integration. Memorial for Tommy at Echo House. Kai leading a spoken-word tribute. Adam performing a eulogy playlet, ghosts dancing free. Jonathan scattered locket ashes in the Hudson. Adam's arm anchor. He set you loose for this. Winter whispered change. Adam's Our Town revival transferred to Broadway. Marquee lights blazing their names. Opening night. Jonathan in the wings. Heart swelling as Adam's prior raged against heaven's indifference. Curtain call tears. Standing O that shook the house. Post-show party at Sardi's. Earl in from Mobile. Toasting with Coke. My boy's a star. Both of them. But drama's denouement brewed subtle. A pregnancy test positive. Courtesy of a surrogate they'd vetted months back. The news landed over Christmas brunch. Kai whooping. Echo barking frenzy. A mini-us. Adam breathed. Hand on Jonathan's still flat belly. Wait. No, the Saggets. But there's in spirit. Ultrasounds became rituals. Tiny heartbeats syncing with their own. Spring birthed the babe, a boy. Elias Whitman Hale. Eyes green as Adam's mischief. Cry fierce as Jonathan's resolve. Homecoming to Hudson was fanfare. Kai rocking him first. Earl video calling coups. The house alive with new rhythm. Feedings at dawn. Lullabies Whitman whispered. Yet the ark's peak. The human heart of it. Unfolded one stormy June eve. Echoes of shotgun thunder in the downpour. Elias fussed. Colics wail piercing. And Jonathan, exhausted, snapped at Adam over a spilled bottle. You get the glamour lights. Applause. I'm the night shift grunt. Adam's face fell, rain lashing windows like regrets. Glamour? The smoke. You're the gravity, John, holding us when I float. Pause. Then, remember Mobile? They tried to erase you. I was the one they couldn't silence because you gave me voice. Tears mingled with rain, arms enfolding. We're the unbreakable, Jonathan murmured, Elias quieting between them. Past, present, erased no more. Years folded forward. Elias toddling stages. Kai off to NYU film. Echo House franchising South Mobile chapter in the old farm fields. Jonathan's art graced museums. Adam's plays Pulitzer-bound. But their truest work was this. A love that outlasted erasures. A family forged in American fire, kitschy, gritty, gay as a pride parade. In quiet moments, Jonathan traced the compass tattoo, Adam's fingers over the ring. They tried, he said, voice soft as dusk. Adam smiled, that disarming grin, and failed. Spectacularly, for in the end, existence isn't given. It's claimed, sung, loved into permanence. And there's a symphony unending.